Hello everyone, welcome back to Zain Facts Channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most crucial and urgent topics of our time, climate change. What is it? Why is it happening? And what can we do about it? Understanding climate change is essential for everyone as it affects all aspects of our lives. So let's break it down in a way that's easy to understand and engaging. What is climate change? Climate change refers to significant changes in global temperatures and weather patterns over time. While climate change is a natural phenomenon, scientific evidence shows that human activities are currently driving an unprecedented rate of change. The burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial processes have increased concentrations of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide in the atmosphere, leading to global warming. The greenhouse effect. To understand climate change, we need to start with the greenhouse effect. This natural process warms the Earth's surface. When the sun's energy reaches the Earth, some of it is reflected back to space, and the rest is absorbed and re-radiated by greenhouse gases. These gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. While the greenhouse effect is essential for life on Earth, human activities have intensified this effect, trapping more heat and leading to a rise in global temperatures. How does the greenhouse effect work? Imagine a greenhouse where plants grow. The glass panels let sunlight in and prevent heat from escaping, keeping the plants warm even in winter. Similarly, greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere trap heat. When sunlight reaches the Earth, it passes through the atmosphere and warms the planet's surface. This heat is then radiated back towards space, but greenhouse gases absorb some of this heat and re-radiate it, keeping the Earth warmer than it would be without these gases. The enhanced greenhouse effect. Human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, have significantly increased the concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This enhancement of the natural greenhouse effect is known as the enhanced greenhouse effect, and it leads to more heat being trapped, causing the Earth's average temperature to rise. This process is often referred to as global warming, which is a major component of climate change. Evidence of climate change. The evidence for climate change is compelling and includes, first, rising temperatures. The planet's average surface temperature has risen by about 2 degrees Fahrenheit, or 1 degree Celsius, since the late 19th century. Most of this warming has occurred in the past 40 years, with the last decade being the warmest on record. Next, warming oceans. The oceans have absorbed much of this increased heat, with the top 100 meters showing warming of more than 0.6 degrees Fahrenheit since 1969. This not only affects marine life, but also contributes to the melting of polar ice, then shrinking ice sheets. Both the Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets have decreased in mass. Greenland lost an average of 279 billion tons of ice per year between 1993 and 2019, while Antarctica lost about 148 billion tons per year. Retreating glaciers are also a significant indicator. Glaciers are retreating almost everywhere around the world, including in the Alps, Himalayas, Andes, Rockies, Alaska, and Africa. Additionally, decreasing snow cover. Satellite observations reveal that the amount of spring snow cover in the northern hemisphere has decreased over the past 5 decades. Rising sea levels are another piece of evidence. Global sea level rose about 8 inches in the last century. The rate in the last 2 decades, however, is nearly double that of the last century and is accelerating each year. Declining Arctic sea ice is also a clear sign. Both the extent and thickness of Arctic sea ice have declined rapidly over the last several decades. We also see more extreme weather events. There has been an increase in the number and intensity of extreme weather events, including hurricanes, heat waves, floods, and droughts. Finally, ocean acidification. The acidity of surface ocean waters has increased by about 30% since the Industrial Revolution, primarily due to CO2 emissions. Causes of climate change. The primary drivers of recent climate change are human activities. First, burning fossil fuels. Burning coal, oil, and gas for electricity and heat is the largest single source of global CO2 emissions. This releases significant amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Next, deforestation. Trees absorb CO2, so cutting them down means there are fewer trees to soak up the gas, leading to higher atmospheric CO2 levels. Third, industrial processes. Certain industrial processes also emit large quantities of greenhouse gases. For instance, cement production emits CO2 when limestone is heated to produce lime. Fourth, agriculture. Agricultural practices, especially livestock farming, produce methane and nitrous oxide, potent greenhouse gases. Livestock such as cattle produce methane during digestion. Lastly, waste management. Waste decomposes and releases methane in landfills. Also, the treatment of wastewater produces CO2 and methane. The role of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the most significant greenhouse gas emitted by human activities, both in terms of quantity and impact. The primary source of CO2 emissions is the burning of fossil fuels. When we burn coal, oil, or natural gas for energy, the carbon in these fuels combines with oxygen in the atmosphere to form CO2. This process releases a large amount of energy, which is why fossil fuels are such an important source of energy, but it also releases CO2, contributing to the enhanced greenhouse effect. The role of methane. Methane is a much more potent greenhouse gas than CO2, but it is present in much smaller quantities in the atmosphere. Methane is produced during the decomposition of organic matter in the absence of oxygen, a process that occurs in wetlands, landfills, and the digestive systems of ruminant animals like cows and sheep. Methane is also released during the extraction and transport of fossil fuels, particularly natural gas. The role of nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is another potent greenhouse gas. It is produced naturally in soils and oceans through the microbial processes of nitrification and denitrification. However, human activities such as the use of synthetic fertilizers in agriculture, fossil fuel combustion, and industrial processes have increased the concentrations of nitrous oxide in the atmosphere. The role of chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs. Chlorofluorocarbons are synthetic compounds that were once widely used in refrigeration, air conditioning, and aerosol propellants. They are potent greenhouse gases and also play a major role in the depletion of the ozone layer. The production of CFCs has been largely phased out under the Montreal Protocol, but they persist in the atmosphere for many decades. Impacts of climate change. Climate change has widespread impacts. First, health. Climate change affects the social and environmental determinants of health: clean air, safe drinking water, sufficient food, and secure shelter. Extreme weather events can lead to injuries and fatalities and shifts in disease patterns. Second, agriculture. Changes in temperature and precipitation patterns can affect crop yields. Some crops may benefit from a longer growing season, but extreme weather events and shifts in pest and disease patterns can reduce agricultural productivity. Third, water supply. The availability of fresh water is expected to decrease in many regions as glaciers melt and precipitation patterns change. This can lead to water shortages and conflicts over water resources. Fourth, ecosystems. Many species may not be able to adapt quickly enough to the changing climate, leading to shifts in biodiversity and ecosystem services. And finally, economy. The economic impacts of climate change are far-reaching, affecting infrastructure, insurance, and financial markets. Increased frequency of extreme weather events can lead to significant economic losses. Mitigation and adaptation. Addressing climate change requires both mitigation and adaptation strategies. First, mitigation. Reducing or preventing the emission of greenhouse gases. This can be achieved through the use of renewable energy sources, increasing energy efficiency, and adopting sustainable agricultural practices. Second, adaptation. Adjusting to actual or expected climate change and its effects. This includes building resilient infrastructure, developing early warning systems for extreme weather events, and improving water management. Renewable energy. One of the most effective ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions is to transition to renewable energy sources. Solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal energy produce electricity without emitting carbon dioxide. As technology improves and costs decrease, renewable energy is becoming increasingly viable and cost-effective. Energy efficiency. Improving energy efficiency can reduce emissions and save money. This can be achieved through measures such as insulating buildings, using energy-efficient appliances and lighting, and implementing energy-saving practices in industry and transportation. Sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agricultural practices can reduce emissions and improve resilience to climate change. These practices include using organic fertilizers, practicing crop rotation, conserving water, and reducing methane emissions from livestock through better feeding practices. Carbon capture and storage, or CCS, is a technology that captures carbon dioxide emissions from power plants and industrial sources and stores them underground. This, prevents the CO2 from entering the atmosphere and contributing to the greenhouse effect. Reforestation and afforestation involve planting trees to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Trees store carbon in their biomass and soil, making forests an important carbon sink. Climate policy is, absolutely crucial. Governments play a critical role in addressing climate change through policies and regulations. International agreements like the Paris Agreement aim to unite countries in the fight against climate change. The goal is to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, with efforts to keep it below 1.5 degrees. Achieving these targets requires significant reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, transitioning to renewable energy sources, and enhancing carbon sinks. National policies are also essential. Countries are developing strategies to reduce emissions, increase energy efficiency, and promote renewable energy. These policies include setting emission reduction targets, providing incentives for clean energy, and implementing carbon pricing mechanisms like carbon taxes and cap-and-trade systems. Carbon pricing is a method to encourage the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. There are two main types of carbon pricing. First, we have a carbon tax directly sets a price on carbon by defining a tax rate on greenhouse gas emissions or on the carbon content of fossil fuels. This provides a financial incentive for emitters to reduce their carbon footprint. Then there's a cap-and-trade system sets a maximum limit, or cap, on the total amount of greenhouse gases that can be emitted by all participating entities. Companies are issued emission permits and can trade these permits. Those that reduce their emissions can sell their excess permits to others that need them. This creates a market for emission reductions and provides economic incentives for companies to innovate and reduce their emissions. International cooperation is crucial in addressing climate change. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC, facilitates global discussions and agreements. The Paris Agreement, adopted in 2015, is a landmark accord that brings all nations into a common cause to undertake ambitious efforts to combat climate change and adapt to its effects. Each country sets its own nationally determined contributions, or NDCs, and reports on its progress. Technology plays a vital role in combating climate change. Innovations in renewable energy, energy storage, and energy efficiency are critical to reducing emissions. Advances in electric vehicles, smart grids, and carbon capture and storage can significantly contribute to mitigation efforts. Renewable energy technologies such as solar panels, wind turbines, and hydropower are becoming more efficient and cost-effective. Solar photovoltaic technology converts sunlight directly into electricity, while wind turbines harness the power of the wind. Hydropower generates electricity from the flow of water, often using dams. Energy storage technologies such as batteries are essential for balancing supply and demand in renewable energy systems. They store excess energy produced during peak production times and release it when demand is higher. Advances in battery technology, particularly lithium-ion batteries, are improving the efficiency and capacity of energy storage systems. Electric vehicles produce no tailpipe emissions and are an important part of reducing transportation-related greenhouse gas emissions. Advances in battery technology and the expansion of charging infrastructure are making electric vehicles more accessible and practical for consumers. Smart grids use digital technology to monitor and manage the production, distribution, and consumption of electricity. They can integrate renewable energy sources more effectively, improve energy efficiency, and enhance the reliability of the power supply. Carbon capture and storage, or CCS, technology captures carbon dioxide emissions from power plants and industrial sources and stores them underground. This prevents the carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere. CCS can significantly reduce emissions from sectors that are difficult to decarbonize, such as cement and steel production. Individuals can also make a significant impact in the fight against climate change through lifestyle choices and advocacy. Reduce energy use. Use energy-efficient appliances, turn off lights and electronics when not in use, and consider renewable energy sources for your home. Transportation. Use public transportation, carpool, bike, or walk whenever possible. If you drive, choose fuel-efficient vehicles or consider switching to an electric vehicle. Diet. Reduce meat consumption, as livestock farming is a significant source of methane. Eating more plant-based foods can lower your carbon footprint. Waste. Reduce, reuse, and recycle to minimize waste. Composting organic waste can also reduce methane emissions from landfills. Water conservation. Use water-saving fixtures, fix leaks, and practice water-efficient landscaping. Advocates support policies and leaders committed to addressing climate change. Raise awareness in your community and participate in climate action initiatives. The role of education and awareness. Education and awareness are crucial in the fight against climate change. Understanding the science behind climate change and its impacts can empower individuals and communities to take action. Schools, universities, and organizations play a key role in educating the public about climate change and sustainability. Climate education. Incorporating climate change education into school curricula can help students understand the causes and consequences of climate change and the importance of sustainable practices. Hands-on activities such as school gardens and energy audits can engage students and promote environmental stewardship. Public awareness campaigns. Public awareness campaigns can inform and motivate people to take action. These campaigns use various media channels, including social media, to reach a wide audience. They can highlight the impacts of climate change, promote sustainable behaviors, and advocate for policy changes. Community engagement. Engaging communities in climate action can lead to meaningful change. Community-based initiatives, such as local cleanup events, tree planting, and energy conservation programs, can inspire collective action and foster a sense of responsibility. The role of business and industry. Businesses and industries have a significant role in addressing climate change. Many companies are taking steps to reduce their carbon footprint, improve energy efficiency, and adopt sustainable practices. Corporate sustainability. Corporate sustainability involves integrating environmental, social, and economic considerations into business operations. This can include reducing greenhouse gas emissions, minimizing waste, conserving water, and sourcing materials responsibly. Companies that prioritize sustainability can enhance their reputation, reduce costs, and attract environmentally conscious consumers. Green technologies. Investing in green technologies can help businesses reduce their environmental impact and improve efficiency. Renewable energy, energy-efficient lighting and heating systems, and sustainable supply chain practices are examples of green technologies that companies can adopt. Sustainable supply chains. Sustainable supply chains consider the environmental and social impacts of sourcing, production, and distribution. Companies can work with suppliers to ensure sustainable practices, reduce waste, and minimize emissions throughout the supply chain. Reporting and transparency. Transparency and reporting environmental performance is important for building trust and accountability. Many companies publish sustainability reports that disclose their environmental impact goals and progress. These reports can also highlight the economic benefits of sustainability initiatives. The role of innovation is key to finding new solutions to the challenges posed by climate change. Research and development in fields such as renewable energy, energy storage, and sustainable agriculture can lead to breakthroughs that reduce emissions and enhance resilience. Research and development. Investment in research and development, or R&D, can drive innovation and create new technologies to address climate change. Governments, universities, and private companies play a crucial role in funding and conducting R&D. Collaboration. Collaboration between different sectors, including academia, industry, and government, can accelerate the development and deployment of innovative solutions. Public-private partnerships and international collaborations can pool resources and expertise to tackle climate challenges. Startups and entrepreneurship. Startups and entrepreneurs are often at the forefront of innovation. They can bring fresh ideas and new technologies to the market, driving progress in areas such as renewable energy, sustainable materials, and climate adaptation solutions. Conclusion. Climate change is one of the most pressing issues of our time, but understanding its science, causes, and impacts can empower us to take action. By making informed choices, supporting systemic changes, and embracing innovation, we can work towards a sustainable future. The fight against climate change requires collective effort from individuals, communities, businesses, and governments. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Zain Facts Channel for more fascinating insights into our world. Let's stay informed and take action for a better, sustainable future.